heart-led visionary leaders create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level. All right, visionary CEOs, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? We're back with one of our beautiful summits with amazing speakers and guests today that are gracing our panel, and we all are going to share amazing information with you, but not just information, because who needs more information in today's world? We're going to share amazing wisdom and nuggets with you for your transformation so you can level up in your entrepreneurial journey, personally and professionally. I always say the two are always connected. I'm the CEO of the Life School. For a minute, I'm like, that is who I am. I'm the CEO of the Life School. And here at the Life School, we help entrepreneurs and business leaders grow their impact and income through branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team so they can maximize all the goodness that they want to do in the world, but also grow a very successful legacy business. So we're always about legacy. We're always about learning and growing here. And we're always about collaboration and sharing our energy and space with other amazing humans that speak from their heart. They're very passionate about the work that they do in the world. And they really feel pulled to share their message with you today. So I'm going to invite all my amazing speakers here to the stage today. So like I said, I am graced by all these beautiful souls today that are in my community and networks. So for a lot of them, I have made meaningful connections. I'm a big community and people connector. So I love that I get to introduce them to you as well. So we will start with my amazing first speaker, Queen Chioma. I had such a beautiful connection with Queen. She's based in UK. And I just loved her energy. I love the work she does and how powerful media is for your business growth. So Queen, thank you so much for coming on. And I would love for you to share a little bit about your background with our audience so we can get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll dive into the topic of media, which I know you so passionately share with amazing entrepreneurs.
Oh, thank you so much, Alona. I'm so grateful, and it's so lovely to see the other amazing speakers as well. And I'm so excited to be with you all that are where you are from all over the world. I know that so many of you are streaming from all over the world. So thank you for being here and for giving us your time. So yes, my name is called Queen Chioma. I'm from queenchiomamedia.com. So that's my website. I am an international motivational speaker, TV presenter, PR and media coach, and a publicist based in London, UK. I help my clients to be in the media and get good publicity for their brands, their businesses, and to really, really convert that publicity into gold, which could be impact, income, and basically more clients, more sales, and more of a revolution in their lives and in their clients' lives. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that. The power of media is so powerful. I always say, I mean, I understood its power because of, the presence that you get to make and the trust building factor, which is so important. I mean, you get to go to audiences that are already built and your work can get known in other, features and ways. And the perception of your brand can absolutely be so elevated. So Queen, I would be very honored if you can share with us some of the most meaningful or important things that we need to know as seasoned entrepreneurs and business leaders on how to leverage media for our personal brand building, but also our business brand.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the opportunity once again. So basically, being in the media is one of the most powerful things that you can do as an entrepreneur. Many of you know that if you can get like one moment to be on Oprah or to be on television, it could be a different television show, it could be a different TV channel. Whether it's local, national, international media, you're going to see a big impact. So the impact could be more confidence, it could be more charisma, it could be new clients, it could be connections. I mean, it's just, if you have a book, you could sell a lot of your book and the list is endless. So basically, I really believe that it is important to leverage media and to leverage PR for your business. So what's the difference between the media side of things and PR? Because a lot of my clients are sometimes thinking, and audience as well, just a lot of people that I know in my audience and just in general, I believe there is a silent question that's often asked. And that question is, what is PR anyway? So basically people are whispering, what's PR? What is it? What is it anyway? A bit like globalization. I learned globalization. I'm like, oh, I get it now. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness. And what's globalization? So I want to start by just differentiating the two, because it's so powerful to know the difference so that you can leverage it very well. So media is more to do with, being on TV and magazines and features and press and publicity. And it's all about visibility. Media usually is to do with video form, but in a nutshell, you can generalize it. So you can generalize it. If they say media, it means to do with publicity. Whereas with PR, there's two types of PR. There's good PR, bad PR. So the kind of PR we're trying to focus on is good PR. And it's a bit like good publicity, but it can be in different ways. So it could be improving your employee relations situation, improving things in your business so that you get good PR from your team. So that could be a form of PR. PR could be to do with basically stakeholder relations. So it could be the stakeholders in your business and having good relationships with them and them actually moving the business forwards. This PR could be to do with basically networking. It could be building connections with the media. It could be to do with investor relations, having investors in your business. It could be to do with financial PR. So there could be the financial side of things where you're putting your finances out there in the media in the right way. So there are some bad reports on money in businesses, and there are good reports. And so it could be to do with social media, how you're showing up on social media. So the bad side of things is when, for example, the Will Smith case, when he slapped Chris on the cheek. I don't know if many of you saw it at the actual Oscars. That was a moment of bad PR because it caused so many problems for his brand. It cost him the opportunity to go to the Oscars because for 10 years he received this ban. It cost him opportunities, and it caused reputation issues in terms of losing fans, losing followers, losing credibility, losing respect. And so what we're trying to do is to make sure we're always allowing people, our brand, to be put out there in a way where we're always receiving good reports, good praise, good opportunities, and so on and so forth. So we don't want the bad publicity that's actually making people run away from our businesses and run away from our brands. And so one of the best tips I'll give to you is to always position yourself to do some form of media and some form of PR every single month. Every week is even better. I remember one of my clients, she'll put out a pitch every single month and she'll get lots of publicity that would actually happen monthly because she was so consistent with putting herself out there. So you might wonder, well, how do I put myself out there? How do I get this good PR and good media opportunities? So one of the ways is to start by crafting a pitch. So basically, this is when you put together a really amazing overview of what you have achieved in your business, what your business is about, the topics you can cover, what you have to offer the media if you want to be interviewed or if you want to be featured or quoted or anything like that. So putting together a pitch will be so good. And this is going to help you to basically reach out to media sources. Now, you can obviously do this directly. So you can reach out to media sources through email, phone. You can phone them up. You can actually reach out to the media through, basically, it could be, sometimes they actually even want you to text them. It just all depends. There are loads of different methods of communication. You could send a letter, you can send a press release, you can send a press kit. There are so many ways to reach out to the media. Kris Jenner, for example, she basically sent out over 1,000 kits, about 1,000 press kits or 1,000 press releases to promote her husband at the time. And that was many, many years ago. And this was what actually birthed the beginning of the popularity of the Kardashians, because it started with her husband, and then from there it moved into the Kardashians, and it just became this big thing. And so that's the power of PR. That's the power of media when you put yourself out there. And what will you get from this as well? You might be wondering, oh, sorry. You might be wondering, like, what will you get from this? What will you get from being visible in the media? So before I go into that, I'll give you a couple of other things that you can do. So you can pitch yourself to the media, you craft the pitch first and foremost, you're putting it out there, so you're pitching yourself. And then you follow up with the media, because a lot of people pitch, but they don't follow up. And this is why they don't get booked. They send out a few pitches, like 3 pitches, and then they're like, oh no, the media doesn't want me. And it's like, no, they do. You just didn't pitch enough. You just didn't reach out to enough sources. So you can track everything in a spreadsheet to make sure that this goes really well, you know? And once you do that, you track in everything, then you can see what's converting and what's not converting. And then from there, you move on to the next thing. And that is to follow up with the media. And you reach out to the media through social media, connect with the media there, you know, drop comments, drop likes, show the media love on social media, make sure that they are noticing you. And that is going to increase the chances of getting booked. Know your topics as well, inside and out. And be sure to have something powerful to offer the media. Look for angles and hooks. Look for something that they don't have. So it could be they don't have a specific topic covered on their blog. Maybe they don't have someone from your background in their magazine. And so you can point that out and say, listen, you have never had anyone from Brazil in this magazine. You've never had anyone from Nigeria on your TV show before. And that is a gap in the market. And that means that they're missing something. And so you can now say, I can represent in this area.
Wow.
So I remember,
Queen, I love this. Oh my gosh, there's so much that we have to learn and grow. You are, you know, that's kind of what attracted me to when I met you, because you have so much great information and you can help people from every phase and stage of where they are in their journey of entrepreneurship. Because I mean, it's the leveraging the power of marketing, right? Marketing is, you know, soul marketing, understanding how to leverage all these different things that we can leverage so we can build trust. I think at the end of the day, building trust is at the core of all of this. So I love everything that you share with us. I will definitely come back to you at the end as well for a final message, but I appreciate everything that you share with us. And you are a wisdom of information, because you know this industry, you know this, it seems like obviously you know, you deal with this and you've been featured everywhere yourself. So you have the credibility, but also the very long experience and wisdom that you are so passionately sharing with us today. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And thanks so much for being my first speaker here today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
It's a pleasure on our end as well. And my other beautiful speaker, I had an amazing, energetic connection with her, Joanna Intara. I love the work she does. So before we dive into the message that she really feels pulled to share with us here today, Joanna, can you give us a little background? How did you get to the work that you're doing today?
Well, good morning, everybody. It is a wonderful pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me and welcoming me in. My name is Joanna Intara. I'm an intimacy alchemist, and I have devoted my life to being of service to those in need of healing and transformation, and also liberation for those who are called. And after seeing 36,000 client hours as a licensed psychotherapist, have been really expanding my reach to get across a message that is really important to me. And that is just the power of the work to support couples and the foundations of what they want. I really believe that couples who have the infrastructure inside their bodies, which is very often overlooked in coaching and most of mainstream therapy, gives them the tools that they need to actually create the desires that they have without all the endless chit chat, talk and insight that goes around. Insight's wonderful, but it's also been proven to be the weakest link to change. And I just am very passionate about the ripple effect that happens when couples are having the lovemaking, and the intimacy that they not only desire, but also require. This affects work, it affects health, it affects money making, it affects children, it affects families. And so I'm just super happy to be here and share that message with you all.
Yeah, deep, powerful work for sure. So Joanna, based on the work that you do daily, what are some of the things that, you know, you share with couples that you really feel will help them get better quality intimacy in their personal relationships? But I'm sure how, you know, that trickles down into their business, into all the other areas of their life in general.
So I'm going to say something that just sounds completely contradictory and maybe even irreverent, but what I'm actually going to say is stop talking about it. Stop talking about it, stop talking around it, stop chit-chatting, stop thinking that insight and euphoric rah-rah is going to be sustainable. It is not sustainable. And I myself have been through this journey where I literally tried everything. There was multiple sources of challenge, disconnection, chaos, conflict, intergenerational trauma. All of us are undoing thousands and thousands of years of conditioning when it comes to love, relationship, sexual connection, lovemaking, all of those wonderful things that we all want and desire and are so good and so true. My approach is to really look at the invisible voice of the body that has not been heard. And I have found repeatedly and consistently that when couples' desires and needs for what they want in any of those departments, lovemaking, intimacy, communication, connection, care, compassion, all the things that can trip all of us up in relationship, when those are dealt with on the level of the body, we are dealing with the level of the foundations. And of course, we would never build a skyscraper from the top down. So, why would we build the core relationship that has the most powerful impact on our business, our health, our wealth, our children? The ripple effect is completely profound about what happens based upon the state of our inner partnership with ourselves. And then, of course, how that plays out in our love relationship. So, I'm here to advocate for the invisible voice of the body that has not been heard. And when what we desire and require when it comes to lovemaking, intimacy, communication, connection is deeply sensed and felt and grounded and presenced and resourced very, very, very deeply in the body, the profound ripple effect that happens is life changing. And not only is it life changing, it's sustainable. And that is my stake in the ground, is that get to be sustainable. And this is, pioneering work. There are very few people sharing this work, if any. I actually created this model because no one is talking about it. And I want things to be simple for couples. I want it to be easier for couples. I want them to have practical, accessible tools that aren't dependent upon me as the practitioner. And then they just have years of what I call endless chit chat therapy. I'm here to put an end to that. And it's a very powerful message.
Hmm. Yeah, there's so much depth to this, right? And we all can learn and grow in this beautiful area that you so beautifully and gracefully have been called to serve humanity with, really, at the end of the day. I think that's the powerful part about the work you do. So, Joanna, I'm curious, what is your framework? So, what are some of the things that you help couples sort of navigate? Because I was very intrigued by what you said as far as the depth of, that most of us have probably seen, model, or even learn, to just talk about it, communication. But there's so many other things that we could do.
Yeah. Yes, I always like to say communication is never about a communication issue. By the time we're dealing with a communication issue, we are dealing with layers and layers of conditioning, karma, and imprints that have been passed down through our lineages and our partner's lineage, that have been in the field for a very long time. Every single person who is in relationship or who is a couple that comes to work with me either requires or desires more of one thing or less of another. If you think about your own partnership for a moment and you just try on for size, what would I like more of or less of? It's usually more of one thing or less of another. More of a certain kind of lovemaking, less of a certain kind of lovemaking, more of a certain kind of intimacy, less of a certain kind of disconnection. All couples have some flavor of disconnection, chaos, conflict, and challenge in one of those areas that I just described in the sentence prior. And so my process is to really listen for what that is, because I really trust that what we desire and require when it comes to this department, and really all of our departments truly in life, whether it's business, money making, health, or in this department of intimacy and lovemaking and connection, it comes from a really good part of us, good part of our, whether you call it soul, spirit, authentic self, essence, source. It always comes from a really, really good and powerful place. But because all of us are undoing layers and layers of intergenerational conditioning around love, love making, intimacy, connection, communication, care, compassion, it doesn't always quite go as we planned. It doesn't always quite go as we require. It doesn't quite always go as the way that would make us feel most fulfilled. But I already trust that because those desires come from such a pure part of us, they are good, they are sovereign. And I already begin the process with the couple to help them really start to locate that intention deeply, deeply, deeply in their body. And then there's a very natural process that unfolds from there, which is that as soon as we start to do that, all of the associated history that goes along with that intention. So, for example, um, there are many women clients who come to me because they're not getting the kind of oral sex that they would like. And I'm a big believer that oral sex should not be a luxury, it's a necessity, you know, and maybe that's really radical, but I think it's really, really important. And so when you start to look at that desire, which is coming from a really pure hearted place, then what happens is all the associated history and conditioning and memories naturally already start to emerge. Right? Oh, well, I'm not sure my mom was ever sexually satisfied, or I'm not sure, you know, that we ever talked about this in my husband's family, or it's taboo, or the church said this, or I'm going to go to hell. You know, like all of those are associated memories. And all of those memories carry a frequency in the body. And that is often unheard in most traditional chit chat therapies. They talk about it. Here's the issue. We talk about it. Let's just talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, but never really land in the sense of it inside the body. And how can you make a change through insight? It's like the person, as I was sharing with you, Alona, on our chat, the person who smokes 5 packs of cigarettes a day. Well, yes, I should not smoke, but gosh, I do not have the infrastructure inside my own mind, heart, body, and soul to actually affect that change. And so once we start working with each of those memories have an imprint in the body. There are sensations in those imprints. There is movement in those imprints. They live in our bodies, and we often don't give that a voice. I really believe we should give it a voice because those imprints are impoverished. They're impoverished of our attention, focus, awareness, presence, being, all of that. And when we have impoverished imprints, meaning like templates that got installed in us from the past, and they're impoverished of all those things, guess which templates are running the show of our life? The earliest ones and the oldest ones. So that is why I kind of have a little bit of a penchant for getting into those vulnerable realms, because once we enrich those imprints, and keyword is rich, is RICH, rich, we are bringing the resources at the core organizing structures of who we are in relationship, who we are in relationship with our desires. And the thing that just really turns me on is watching the resources get to those places that need them, that are impoverished, and then watching the ripple effect unfold. Every single one of my clients who comes to me makes more money, has better health, has better relationships with their children, all of those things, because those impoverished imprints are getting the enrichment that they require. But it's never what the mind thinks it is. I work with really smart, potent, passionate, beautiful, powerful strategists, coaches, visionaries, and CEOs. But they always think they can think their way through it. And I'll say, don't make the smart person's classic mistake in thinking that because you're a genius in your area, that makes you a genius in this area. Leave this to me. I am a genius in this area. My capacity to be present with all of those unsavory things comes from my initiation into doing this work since I was 12 years old. It doesn't happen by accident. We've all heard of the dark night of the soul. You know, it's no accident. Leave that to me. Let's discover the genius and the intelligence that is laying dormant, filled with riches that are inside your body. And let's get that ripple effect happening and have the mind be the servant instead of the master of everything. That is just, for me, it's non-negotiable. And then I get to witness this unfolding with my clients.
My goodness, Joanna. Well, you will definitely, don't worry, because if we just started the conversation, there's so much curiosity around all the beautiful speakers and the work that they do. You'll have a chance to connect with all of them in our community. So don't worry about that, as they all serve in their own channels and they all serve in their own ways. And you could definitely continue the conversation, nurture the relationship. But Joanna, you tapped into two very powerful points, for me at least, from what I took away from the work you do. Is the first one, all the shame around opening up these conversations and really sharing some really hard, not hard, but true truths with, the level of intimacy, especially for us as women, for sure, because we haven't seen that openness from our prior generation. So there's so much shame to kind of focus in this area. And the other one is the brain that you talked about. A lot of CEOs, a lot of visionaries, their brain works in a certain capacity, because obviously we're all gifted in different areas. But I say that the same way that you just shared, that there's certain experts for different things. There's people that are gifted, right? And what makes someone an expert is just their experience, and someone working on their craft for years and years and years and years, right? And they obviously, there's a reason why they chose it, because they have a calling. It's their gift. So let's unite, let's collaborate, put all our gifts together, because we're not meant to be doing it all, learning it all, right? I mean, there's certain experts that we can hire in certain areas, saving us time, giving us the desired results that we are looking for. So I appreciate everything you had to share with us so far, Joanna. Thanks so much for that beautiful message.
Thank you.
Powerful, powerful. Well, you let me know as you're joining live, and also if you're going to watch the summit on replay, any key takeaways. I mean, I'm always writing key points, right? Because it's not really information, just like I shared at the beginning of the summit, that transforms us, but is that one dot that we get to connect just by hearing someone speak about something, and the way that it gives us the awareness and the clarity in our own personal lives. And then the fact that we get to connect that and take a next step so we can start implementing it. I think that's really how I love to learn. It's not about just junking ourselves with more information and topics, but again, it's listening for the right next dot in towards our purpose and our journey that will help us move a little further, and faster along. So having said that, I'm introducing my third beautiful speaker, Elisa Maldonado. She's such a beautiful soul with such an inspiring story. I met Elisa in person, actually, in our live events here in New York, and she's recently our community expert as well. So can't wait to introduce her to you as well. Elisa, welcome. And if you could share with us a little bit about your background, we'll lay you to the work that you're doing today.
Hi everyone. What I do is I'm helping people to be able to I'm sorry. So what I do is I am helping people protect their identity, and not only that, we also have people that might need our services because we all go through, people want to hack into our social medias and things like that. Not only that, we also help people with oh my goodness. Sorry. So we also help people with
Alyssa,
like
don't worry, just speak from your heart. I know
yeah,
sometimes these environments are a little nerve-wracking. I used to be a mess when I would go to speak, but I realized that if I just focus on the right message and serving the audience, I'm off the hook, and I don't worry about being nervous. So just, we're here waiting to have you share your message with us, but don't be nervous about it. We're all here to support one another, and whatever comes through will come through. The heart knows it.
yes, definitely. Well, definitely. What also I was trying to say until I saw the stuff moving. I was like, oh, what's going on? um, I just want to say that for me, I help people with our services to protect identities, and not only that, people might not be able to afford like lawyers. And thing is, with our services, we rather show people that we're here to help. And a lot of people may not have the money to get a lawyer, but with our services, you could afford it for about $30 a month. And that's something very powerful. I felt like it was so helpful for people to know that you know, we can make a difference in people's lives. A lot of people might not be able to make a will because wills are expensive. I noticed that a lot of people, usually don't get a lawyer because it's so expensive. And let's say like you got contracts, business people have to sign things, and they just sign things, because they have to. But things, instead of reading the contract, knowing what they're signing for, it's so important to know what you're you're signing, right? So I feel like it's so powerful what our services does because we are trying to make a huge difference so people know you're not have to worry about spending thousands of dollars and have to be struggling to, helping people to make a difference of worrying about, you know, the cost. Cause that's the big thing that everyone worries about is the cost. And not only that, with our other services, the ID Shield, um, sorry. So, basically, with our ID Shield, we basically help people protect their identities, like I was saying, and that will help people, to definitely to able to protect their Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all social medias. And not only that, let's say you get like because with our service we give you a notification and like, hey, did you purchase something? And if it wasn't you, they go in investigation mode real quick to make sure we help you, to make sure we find out who's trying to pretend to be you. And that's something so powerful also, because that's happening around the world. And I feel like that's another thing that a lot of people, when they see their social media get hacked, they just give up and they're freaking out because they can't do anything about it, right? So I feel like it's so powerful with our services to make a huge difference. And I'm really blessed to have this service because now I'm able to make a will. I'm able to help people to know about our service and spread the word because that's so important. That is not only helping me, but it's going to help others. So I'm really happy to share that. Sorry in the beginning. I was a little
Yeah.
nervous, but I'm really happy to share that with you guys. Thank
No,
you.
you did it very, very clear. And I know you're with a company called Legal Shield, and I personally use them as well for really behind the pocket, like legal advice as
Yeah,
we've grown our businesses and also our personal lives. Things always happen, right? So we don't always know what it is. But I agree. Just like we talked about, it with Joanna. There's people in different fields. We don't even know our rights. We don't even know, what to do, contracts, things that come up.
definitely.
So having the experts, I'm always a big expert surrounder, right? Surrounding ourselves with the right tools so that we can make the right decisions, because
Yes, and
decisions out of not knowing always leads to other challenges.
yes, and definitely the one thing I always tell people, if you don't know all your rights, that means you have no rights at all. A lot of people usually take the loss of, all right, I can't do nothing about it. But the thing is, you can. You can now if you use our services, because you can say, hey, can I talk to my lawyer about this? Maybe they can tell me what's my next step of how to deal with the situation. And you'll be surprised. They write a letter behind you and make sure they protect you and make sure you are getting treated with respect the way how you're supposed to. Because if you feel you're getting treated unfair, it shows people, because when they hear lawyers, they're all scared. Honestly, they don't want to deal with lawyers. They get very nervous. So I feel like it's so powerful. Like I said, it's very powerful, and I'm really happy to share this with you guys.
Yeah, and they represent you. And Alyssa, I'll share my personal story with Legal Shield. They saved me $5,000 because there was a partnership that I wasn't even sure how to go about. And the advice is like 3 steps: 1, 2, 3. I did them, and I got the result that I was looking for. That's the power of expertise. So there you go. Alyssa, what about your personal life? What made you? What's your big why? What connected you with this company besides obviously how passionately you believe, in the service that it does for people, but personally as well? What were you looking for, and how did this company meet those needs?
At first, I was looking at it as, helping people. This was a great way of, you know, sharing the service. But then for me, I was like, you know what? I have two kids of my own. I have a 1 year old and a 2 year old, and they're both autistic. Um, so I was like, I want a will because, if something ever happens to me, I know people look at, my kids like, oh, they're probably autistic. They could treat them wrong. No, I want them in good hands and protected and safe.
Mhm.
I don't want to, because we all gonna pass one day. But thing is, for my sake, I want to know my kids are gonna be okay. I want to make sure my belongings, you know, my money situation will all split in half for them. I wanted them to know like I was thinking for them and they don't have to worry about any of my situations. At least I knew what I was gonna do. Knowing that I was looking at this whole thing like, like I was saying, like I love helping people. So it made me want to spread the word about our services. But not only that, for me, it was more about the will. It was about, my kids might get into a situation one day, because, they go to college, they could go to a party one day, and then something can happen. We don't know. In the world we live in now, things can happen tomorrow. They're, we're at a wrong place at a wrong time, and that's scary. So it's like, it's great to have these services to know that it can protect your life, your your situations that can happen. You know, the one thing that I was so proud that I had the service was because I was me and my kid's father, we got a car and I received a letter and I'm thinking they're gonna take the car away from us. I didn't know why. But turned out it was just about, the dealership was looking for a loan for us. And one of the loans were denied us. But we already had a loan. I was so confused until I realized the dealership was trying to find something for us. So I was really like, whew, relief. And that's what it's about. Feeling relief. We don't have to feel like, oh my goodness, what's going on? What's gonna happen? Freaking out on the spot and trying to try to handle on our own. At least we're in good hands. We have the service, use it, you're protected. And that's what I love.
That's it. That's absolute. That's your legacy, your girls, right?
Yeah.
That's your legacy. I was looking at the emotions, right? Because the only way that we carry on with our work as entrepreneurs is if it means something for us. We do, it's meaningful.
Yes.
Otherwise, we can't sustain it, just like Joanna said. So thank you so much, Alyssa, for everything that you shared.
Thanks.
All right, and moving on to my next speaker, my fourth speaker, Tony Guarnacia. I hope I didn't butcher your last name, Tony.
It's pretty good. Guarnacia.
Did I? Perfect. So welcome, and can't wait to learn a little bit about you as well. So if you could share a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in small business. My parents had a small Italian bakery out in Connecticut, and amazing bakers. Unfortunately, they didn't know what they didn't know about growing a business. And so at the age of 12, we lost everything. So lost the house, the car, even had to give up my dog. And so it was a really challenging time. And so years later, I really went back to rectify it. And so I went to college, learned entrepreneurship, and decided to kind of rectify the past and started my own bakery. Actually, it was one of the first online bakeries in the country. And so had a decent level of success, ended up working with brands, big brands, Sony and Discover Card, did cakes for Jennifer Lopez and Jay-Z. And I thought to myself, here I am in my late 20s. I'm like, this entrepreneurship thing is it's not that hard. What were my parents missing? Little did I know that I didn't know what I didn't know either, and ended up failing for a variety of reasons. And so I said to myself, okay. And at that point, I had lost a lot of money and had to end up living in my sister's basement and was in debt, pretty much everything that could go wrong. But the worst part was I was newly married with a baby on the way. I said, okay, well, clearly this isn't working. What do I need to do? And so I decided to go into the business world and work for over about a decade, worked with some of the best companies in the world, because I figured to be the best, I need to learn from the best. So I ended up working with companies like Google and ADP and Ford and General Motors, all these great companies. And so, and my intent was kind of to learn, what makes success. And so after about a decade, I decided to go off on my own again and had a great level of success doing that. So I had at that point in time worked with a dozen Fortune 500 companies, 10,000 small businesses. And I said, okay, I'm prepared now. I'm going to go back into entrepreneurship. And so I went back and kind of the core that I've always considered was, okay, I've had horrible experiences, I've had great experiences, and what's the difference between those that struggle and those that are really, really successful? And so it took me a while. I documented, like I said, 10,000 small businesses in the Fortune 500. Like, what separates them? And really, I found it was just one thing, and that's really influence. So I found that influence is the key to really impact and income. And so over the years, I started experimenting and say, okay, well, how can I increase my influence? Because that's really the key. Certainly public speaking, all these things. So really over that course of time, when I left the corporate world, I started my own marketing agency. During that course of time, I tried literally everything. I did the product launches. I wrote a couple books. I did, what else did I do? I did online giveaways. I tried, pretty much everything you think. The product launch formula, you name it, I tried it. Lead magnets, you got it. But there's really one thing that I found that worked better than anything, which is kind of like what we're doing here, right? Public speaking in stages. And so over time, that led me to really what I'm doing today. And that's focusing on podcasting, because podcasting I found is really one of the best ways to really grow three things: your audience, your income, and your impact. And so I spent the last I spent the last few years really passionate in that and really doing it in three ways. I created my own software company. So I have software that automates the marketing and monetization of podcasts, as well as podcast guest interviews. Because not everybody wants to do a podcast, which is fine. You can get a lot of leverage just by being on other people's podcasts, which is like a guest interview strategy. So I built systems around both the guesting and the host side, and really did it in three ways. I started, as I mentioned, a software company, and then I started a training company to teach everything I've done over the years. And then finally, I recently launched a couple done-for-you agencies that help as well. So it really helps the people that are like, I'm good, I just need the tools, I want to do it myself. For those that maybe need a little help, we have the training, and for those that like, hey, I don't even want to like deal with this, can you just handle this for me? Then we recently add the agency service. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Wow, Tony, do you really? Wow, online bakery. That's the first. Like, I have not heard that. That's really cool about you. Your background.
Yeah, we developed the technology where we could take a pin, put it into a cake, dry ice that, freeze that cake with dry ice, and then mail it literally in the country. So you could literally get a cake, you could throw it if you wanted to, it'd still be fine. And we ended up turning it into two businesses. One, a consumer-based business. So, hey, my kids in college, send them a picture of Fluffy, my dog, and they'll love to see it because we haven't seen him in 6 months. And we also did a corporate side. And so that was really cool because we ended up doing cakes for like Microsoft and Verizon, like all these crazy companies. And we'd ship cakes out with their logos on it, basically, and people loved it. And like I said, over time, we ended up working with Jennifer Lopez and Jay-Z and some celebrities as well.
Wow, that's very, very cool. Yeah, that's very, very cool. So Tony, give us three best practices for podcasting. So you touched on those three things: working. We all are very interested in working smart and not hard, especially now at the age of content. And there's so many ways, right? What do we do to grow our business? There's so many things out there. So what have you learned and has worked for your clients? Three main things that you want to share with us around podcasting.
Of course, yeah. And there's really two sides to the chair, right? You have the host and you have the guest. So what I'll do is I'll give you something that works for both sides because I find the same issues. And so what I found over the years, working with all these amazing companies, you really need three things to have success. So number one, you need to have the right audience. If you're not targeting the right audience, you can have the most amazing offer in the world, but it will fall flat if it's not to the right people. The next thing you need to have is the right messaging. So you might have the cure for cancer, but if you can't communicate it properly, it's not going to resonate, and therefore it's not going to have an impact. And the last part is you need to have an offer. So you need to have the right offer because you might have the right audience, it might be perfect, might have the right message, but if you don't have the offer that they want to actually take the next step with you, then it's going to fall flat. So how would that pertain to podcasting? Well, let me share that with you. So the first thing is your audience. How do you define and attract the right audience? Well, the first thing you want to do is look for the podcasts that fit your audience. And so I actually created a tool for this. It's a little search engine. You put in people like yourself. So what I do when I try to get on a stage is I'll go to Amazon. I'll find authors that wrote books similar to what I want to do. I put them in the search engine, and you don't have to use my search engine. You could literally go into Google and do the same thing. And you put in that person's name and you search for the podcast they've been on. You get a list, and then that's a starting place for where you want to appear. It's also a great place to meet relevant podcasts through masterminds, and some of my best ones have been through that. So there's a bunch of ways to do it, but the key lesson here is to get the right audience. Now, once you have the right audience and you're speaking, you want to make sure you have a message that makes an impact, because if you don't have a message that's impactful, people aren't going to take action. And so you have to really get it down to basics. But who do you want to reach? What are they looking for? Why they need you? And really answer the question, why would they want to listen to you as opposed to anyone else, or do nothing at all? Because let's face it, your competition is not just your direct competitors. It's, in this world, going back to what I said before, influence is the key to impact and income. Your impact is relative to your attention. So influence, attention, they're all intertwined, your impact. And so you want to make sure you have a message that's compelling. And so how do you do that? Well, you want to make sure you understand, again, who are you serving? What do they need? Why they need you? So I created a very simple kind of framework on how to do that I'm happy to share. And then the last part is your offer. So you want to make sure you have a compelling offer. And so one fundamental thing you have to understand, no matter what you're doing, I'll speak to a podcast, but even right here, there's always an exchange of value. All right. And so the first exchange of value is kind of theme of what I've been talking about. You're exchanging people's attention for your message. So you have to have an impactful message, because they're taking their time away from their busy schedule. It could be on Netflix, it could be on YouTube, they could be on TikTok. They're here listening to you. So that's the first level of exchange. It's really their time for your value, whatever value you can provide. It could also be other things like entertainment, but for a business perspective, usually it's some sort of value. Now, the next level of value, which is your offer, it's really more value, going down the rabbit hole a little deeper, and exchange typically for contact information. So this is where you might have some kind of lead magnet, some kind of offer. There's 4 kinds of offers I usually do. Usually it's some kind of training where they can learn something. Maybe it's some kind of template where they can have step-by-step exactly how to do something. Could be a tool, or you can add them to what I call a tribe. So usually the best offers are really in those 4 categories. So I get to be in a community. I get to have a tool that helps me do something faster. I get a template that kind of walks me through exactly how to do it, or I get to be part of a community that can support me. So those are the offers that are typically done. So again, the exchange is more value in those 4 formats in exchange for people's contact information. Now, here's everyone's favorite one, which is usually where people like to go first, which is really the worst thing to do. But this is where you sell your stuff. You're offering. You have your offer, and then you have your offering. This is where you sell your product or service. But what you're really selling is transformation. So taking from someone from where they are today to where they want to be. And so you are the guy that transforms them from where they are to where they want to be. Usually the exchange there, of course, is your result. So all my agencies over the years have had the name results in them. So my agency for podcasting is called Podcasting Results. When I had a digital marketing agency, it was called Big Fish Results. I had all these, there's other ones I had, but they all have their name results in it. Why? Because that's what people want. They want the results. So they don't want your product or service. They want the result that the product or service gives them, which is really transformation. And so that is where people exchange their money typically for their result. And so a mistake a lot of people make is they'll be on a podcast and they'll just go right to selling something. And typically it's not like, oh, buy this thing. Usually it's like, I hear this way too many times, but give me a call, I'll give you a free consultation. That's like translation for I'm going to pitch you. Like nobody wants to hear that. So stick to the 4 T's in a podcast, whether as a guest or a host, and then you'll be fine. And so that's really my advice, because that applies both to hosts as well as to guests.
I love that, Tony. I love that you put this in steps, because there's so much confusion. We need steps. I think there's still a lot of value in, so many mentors putting things in steps and then helping people implement it into results.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. Results is the name of the game. People don't care about the process that you take them through. They only care about the result, because obviously that is what we want. So love that, Tony. And definitely you will share with us at the end that tool about
Sure.
searchability. That's really powerful, I think, to use tools and systems so that we work smart and not hard in our business as we grow as well. So thanks so much for a beautiful message, and nice to have virtually met you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
Beautiful. Now I'm going to my last but not least beautiful speaker, Priscilla Ruth. Priscilla, welcome, and thanks so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about you. Do we have an issue with the audio? Priscilla, I don't think we can hear you. Not sure what's going on. If you could check maybe on your end. We could see you, but I cannot hear you. And this happens. We're live. We speak from the heart. No scripts. No need. So, Priscilla, I really hope the audio things get fixed. If not, of course, you're coming back, because I want to ensure that everyone gets heard. And that's important to me. So let's see. All right. So Priscilla, if not, then we will bring you back in another summit so that you can powerfully share your message as well. And meanwhile, I want to ask my speakers to wrap up today's summit for a final message. And also, where is it that people can continue the conversation with them? Queen, you can go first.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again, Alona, and thank you to the fabulous audience here and all the speakers. You're very amazing. So if I can leave you with anything, I want to leave you with this. You are supposed to take your message north, east, south, and west and make a global impact. You're not just meant to stick to social media. You are supposed to be in the media too. And there are millions of people that are waiting to hear and see you and to experience your message, your beauty, your charisma, everything that you have to offer. And another thing I'll say is this: you're meant to have a moment on television one day. And it's not an impossible thing. It's something that you can definitely have happen to you, and it will change your business and your life forever. And so where I'm over is on Instagram at Queen Choma, and my website is www.queenchomamedia.com. And so I offer PR and media done for you services like a publicist, and then coaching and consultancy. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Definitely go connect with Queen as well. Joanne?
Final message. Love it. This has been a joy, and it's also been wonderful to listen to everybody else as well and hear about all your expertise. There's so many unique, cool flavors of humans in this world, and I just love to be around all that. I think the core message and takeaway that I really want to invite you to take with you is that there's nothing more important than having the foundations in your body and your history and your nervous system be able to hold what you really desire and require when it comes to partnership. If you take care of that, the ripple effect throughout your life will be incredibly immense, and you will see it everywhere because you will be enriching the core places. And that is worth its weight in gold. It is incredibly invaluable. And I welcome the conversation with any of you or any of those that you love that want to have a sustainable foundation partnership, actually for real, not just chit-chatting or talking about it. And you can reach me over at The Intimacy Alchemist on Instagram. That is my handle. Best way to reach me. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Joanne. And Alyssa, a final message from your school of life, and also where is it that people can connect with you?
Wow. So basically, for me, will be always believe in yourself and always, do what you feel is best. And knowing that, to always know that we can always, be so, not only being on social media, be out there also, meaning going to groups, events. And not only that, you could just go out and talk to someone and make a huge impact. It makes a huge difference. And you could reach me um uh basically on Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram is with Ali, boss up with Ali. And if you ever need to contact me, my number is 917-231-5522. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Tony?
Sure. Well, one of the things I talked a lot about today was impact. And impact doesn't really happen unless you take action. And so I always, wherever I go on any stage or any podcast, I always try to give something that's useful and actionable. And so I talked about the 4 T's before: a tool, template, tribe, and training. So I actually give all 4 of those. So if anyone wants that, the best way to get a hold of me is you can go to my website, and it's completely free. It's podcastonesheet.com. Go there. You can sign up for a tool, and what it is, it gives you a media kit. It automates the creation of a media kit, so you can get booked on podcasts for free. And so when you do that, however, you'll get a string of emails afterwards. One of them is a direct access to my calendar, where you could actually talk to me. And that's the only way to get it, because I don't take too many calls. But if you want to have a 15-minute conversation with me, I'll consult you on any questions you have. And so that's the best way to reach out to me. Get the free tool. And also, if you mention this summit, I'll give you the podcast finder, which is usually almost $300 for free, just as my thank you for being here, because I like to go above and beyond. Because you can get the software free anywhere, but you can't get podcast finder, which finds all the podcasts to get booked on and gives you their contact information. So if you'd like that, just reach out to me when we have that call, and let me know you came through here.
All right. Thank you so much, Tony, for that generous offer. Thank you so much to my beautiful speakers. We're wrapping up. There you have it. I hope this was helpful and it was of service to you, as I'm sure it was to me. Here at the Life School, we are the dot connector for your life and business, and also people, right? People is a common denominator. You'll find all of these amazing speakers inside our Life School community, because collaboration and connection is very, very powerful. And go ahead, now you started the conversation, so continue to collaborate, continue to get to know one another, and continue to add value to one another's lives. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in other summits and other events. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday. I want to share with you the 4 books that would change your life personally and professionally. So the first book is Connecting the Dots Backwards, one of the books I've written that will help you connect the dots between your past, your present, and your future life vision. You will find topics in there around marketing, sales, spirituality, relationships, all the areas that you need to be fulfilled as a human being. The second book that I've written, which is a journal, accompanies the Connecting with the Dots book. And this journal will help you apply the information that you learn in the book into a journal. It has self-guided questions that you can go through and into to get the clarity that you need to discover your values, your vision, and your mission. This is a journal attaching the book as well. And then Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurship is my latest book, where I have included my legacy framework in building legacy businesses, everything from mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. And I have connected all the dots between all those areas so that you have the fundamentals that you need to build a truly legacy empire. And then my latest creation is the Focus on Purpose Planner for increased productivity and efficiency, where I have included a framework around your productivity, where you can plan ahead, work on purpose, and leave amazing impact on the planet with your work. You can find any of my books on the website below, ilonaloparicoaching.com books, and definitely grab your copy. Let me know, leave me a review on Amazon, and let me know how this book has impacted you and changed your life.